Hey everybody, thanks for joining SpringPath, the podcast. We have a great show lined up, lots to talk about, so let's get after it. Hey everyone, thank you for joining another episode of SpringPath, the podcast. Today I have a new guest, the chair of the finance department at CCSU, Dr. Lisa Frank. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Mike. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah. So as you know, we did speak with the general admissions team, and this is part of a full series. And really, we have a lot of students that are interested in learning more about what it takes to get into the finance department at CCSU, and then kind of setting the expectation on what's expected of them, and then how they kind of move through the program, get internships, and move into the workforce. So I'm really happy you can join us today and kind of shed some light on what the experience should be, or what they should be expecting if they, land on the CCSU campus for the School of Business. So why don't we start with a little bit of background on yourself and kind of how you got into this role?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been with CCSU since 2007, so around 15 years. I've been a finance faculty member for most of that time. In 2019, I took over the role of finance department chair, and I've been doing that role ever since. And I'm also associate to the dean for student success in the School of Business. So multivariate roles right now.
That's fantastic. So just out of curiosity, how do you become a chair? Is it like it's an elected position, or is it?
Yes. So the department, the faculty in the department elect the chair. It's a 3-year appointment. So the chair is elected every 3 years by the faculty, and then the dean and the president approve the election.
Okay. Right, and you're the voice for the faculty as well. You're there to help both the students, the faculty, the entire department.
Exactly. I'm the face of the department right now. So the faculty come to me, the students come to me, and yeah, exactly.
Okay. So essentially, I had the chance to speak with the general admissions team on a different podcast, and really what they had covered is a lot of the steps to selecting CCSU over other schools, the campus life, getting onto campus. And really what I'm hoping you can help us with is when someone's actually selected CCSU, they love it, they're here, they love the campus, the size of the school, and now they know they want to, get into the School of Business, and they're considering finance. What are some of the things that what are some of the things they should consider for going into the finance department? I know you have certain pre-qualifications. Maybe you can cover, the expectation to get in.
Yeah, sure. So I can start really with just a summary of our business degree program, and then speak specifically to finance. So we do have a 4-year program at CCSU, and so the program itself, a student coming into CCSU who's interested in business would start as a pre-major. So specifically for finance, they would be what we call a pre-finance major for the first 2 years.
Okay.
And, the program itself is well-rounded in that regard, that you come in as a pre-major, and in the first 2 years, the student would complete a number of general education courses along with a course set of business courses. And then once they finish that, the core set of courses, they would move on to take more specific courses in the discipline. So for finance, they would then have in their last 2 years, 30 credits of courses that are specific to finance or very closely related to finance. There's a couple like economics or accounting that they can take.
Sure.
But the fact that, we have this common business core means that students can spend their first 2 years really finding their fit, but they also spend that time developing a really deep understanding of each of the business functions and how every business function contributes to the success of an organization. So those skills really develop a well-rounded business student who then moves into focusing on their particular discipline. So moving into the finance department.
Sure. And you and I had talked about this. So in some cases, a student that's in high school right now, maybe thinking, to get a degree in finance, really it's just, becoming a stockbroker or just a business analyst. But when they get into your program, the breadth of opportunity for them to learn these different things really helps them kind of find their path. Is that the concept?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two things. One of the things is that the business program, the finance program at CCSU, and all the programs really in the School of Business, offers a strong development of skills that are widely applicable to any company. So we focused on things like critical thinking, written and oral communication skills, and especially in a business setting, ethics, teamwork. So these are all skills that are widely applicable to any organization. But taking that down a different path too, like students coming in for a finance degree don't necessarily have to be financial analysts, right? So there's so many other, there's organizations, there's banks, there's, investment companies. They can be financial planner or personal financial planner working with individuals. They can work with securities. They can work in a corporation in corporate finance or along with the accounting departments. So there's so many different paths that a finance student can take. It really depends on where their interests lie. And when we advise our students, once they get into the upper level and they start meeting with faculty advisors, we can help them to determine which career path would be best for them. But again, all of those skills are so widely applicable to any business.
Yeah, and I think, and I mentioned this to you. We actually interviewed a graduate, Mike Cardinal. He works for a company called Mackay Shields down in New York, and essentially what he was saying is that in his firm, they manage hundreds of billions in assets, but really out of the entire workforce, he said 1/3 of the workforce is related to portfolio management. He said the rest is all operations. So I think what he liked best about the program is the ability to experience all these different elements and then find something he was passionate about and apply it with his finance degree. So it sounds like it's on, that's one of the main benefits of the program.
Yeah, that's great feedback. And we, a lot of our students will do internships while they're in the program. So they have the opportunity. We have a centralized, our career success area centralizes setting students up with internships and job opportunities, but many of our students will take advantage of internships while they're in the program, and that will help them also decide, what works best and what doesn't. So many students will continue on in the same in the same company or in the same line of business that they chose for their internships, and others will come to me and say, well, that didn't really work out that great. I wasn't that passionate about it, so I'm going to move on to something else. But either way, it's an excellent learning experience for the students so that they know before they throw all their eggs into that basket whether or not they like being in that area. So that's another opportunity we offer. And I mentioned to you earlier when we were offline that we do also, upper level students have the ability to take to do an internship for credit. So they might apply for course credit for a particular internship. And so we have an application process for that as well. But that's another opportunity students have.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting because really, to kind of give a level set on the internship concept. So really it's about the experience. So the students, they're in school, but they're able to, through your program, and I think your career dev center, is it called Handshake? Was that the name of the?
Handshake is what we're using right now to manage all the, employers will post internship opportunities, job opportunities. We have all of our opportunities and it's managed through Handshake. Yeah. In our career development office.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So really, gaining that experience is key for when they're segueing or moving into the workforce. To your point, if they don't stick with the company that they interned with, they have that experience on their resume so that they can take it to another firm and kind of expand on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we offer so many different opportunities for our students. In addition to the internships, we bring in companies. We have a number of partnerships with companies in the region that will come in and do sessions, and students can talk one-on-one with representatives from those companies. So there's so many different opportunities for students, in addition to the internships, that they can try to figure out where they fit in.
Sure. No, and I think that's great. And that's really what people want to know is, how, coming into the program, and I'll kind of ask you this, just kind of circling back. So Lisa, one of the questions I typically get asked from students in high school is really, there's always that fear factor of, am I going to pass the course? How hard is it? I'm hoping that you shed a little light on how you help with the student success in the program.
Sure. Yeah. One of the main goals in our strategic plan, both at the university and in the School of Business, is student success. So we start on day one with ensuring students are successful. We want to make sure that students can maintain their GPA, that students can successfully complete their program, their courses every semester, that they're graduating on time. So this is a big focus of the university and of the School of Business. And by the same token, we also, faculty are very compassionate, and we understand that students have a life and that they need to balance their academics with their outside lives. Many of our students are also working in addition to going to school, so they have that to balance as well. As far as how difficult the program is, it's a college program, so we do have a little bit higher standard than the rest of the university. We have a 2.5 GPA requirement in the School of Business, but we have so many supports for students to help them to achieve their goals in the program. So, for example, we offer tutoring. All of our faculty are so focused on student success. They meet one-on-one with students regularly. We hold regular office hours. We have a learning center that helps students with things like time management and academic success and how to be successful academically.
I will say, so I'll just speak personally. I could not pass calculus to save my life when I was in the program. I had so much trouble. I had to retake calculus the next semester, but I got a tutor that met with me every day in the library after I would take the class, then would go do my homework with the tutor. And I have to say, just that help. I don't know how I passed it. If you gave me a test on calculus today, there's no chance, but it was just the level of resource availability at CCSU, especially for the School of Business, I thought was amazing to help me be successful. So I can.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's great to hear. It's definitely the same. There's so many supports for students, and the good news is, for anybody listening to this podcast, we don't require calculus. So the only math we have a requirement. There's a statistics requirement and a business math requirement, but there's also tutoring available for both of those. I think in the finance department, in the finance major. And in all the business majors, Finance 295 it's managerial finance, which introduces students to finance. So most finance students have no problem with that, but we also offer tutoring with that as well. So, sure. Because all of the business students take that class. And so we have tutoring for Finance 295. There's tutoring for accounting. So there's so many supports, both in the school and university-wide for students.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really just happy to know that they checked my, the suggestion box and they removed calculus as a requirement, because I wrote into them a bunch of times that shouldn't be a requirement.
Well, it hasn't been a requirement since I've been there, so I won't ask how long ago it was.
It was a while ago. So that's good. Okay, so I listen, me personally, I'll say it again. The support system for the School of Business when I was there was amazing. The resources that you have access to, plus the size of the campus and the size of the student body, it's big enough that it's fun, it's diversified. You meet a lot of different people, but when you get into the School of Business in particular, I always had access to the teacher. Like I can talk to them after class, but we can catch them on campus. Plus you had tutors and advisors. So you were never really alone, and you shouldn't really struggle if you're running into, like for me, calculus, an issue, the team is there to help you overcome that issue and move forward and graduate. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a great program.
Right. And on that same note, I'll also mention just the students who are most successful are the ones who communicate with their professors too. So if a student is struggling, if you're struggling in class, the best thing to do is to talk to the professor, get to know them, let them get to know you. And that way, if you're struggling, they can help you with what you need to do in order to be successful in that class. And that may be a referral to tutoring, or it just may be one-on-one assistance from the professor. But really, there is a huge focus on student success.
Sure. So with that, what do you look for in a student, or what does the School of Business department in general look for in a student coming into the program? Like you were just saying, the expectation, or what we look for are students that are open, if they are having a challenge, to come and talk to the professors. I know sometimes it's about just the simple mentality of perseverance, and you're trying something different. You haven't done this before, don't give up. But, what are some of the qualities that you look for in a student to be successful?
I think, so the students that are most successful, I could tell you from even meeting with my own students, they're dedicated and they're hardworking. They show discipline, but they also have a balance in their lives. So I think I mentioned this before. It's that ability to balance your academic life and your personal life, but really knowing when. I think that the discriminator between a successful student and one that might struggle is knowing when one part of your life needs to take priority over another for the short term, right? So,
sure.
For final exams, obviously focusing more on academics than on the job that you have might be something that's important for that 1 week, but it's in the short term. So, our students, we have an amazing student body. Our students are really so hardworking and so disciplined, and they show so much perseverance. But the ones that are able to balance that in their lives and make those decisions as to what needs to be important today versus tomorrow are
Sure.
the ones that are most successful.
That's great. Yep, I agree with you. So Lisa, you mentioned the resources that students have available to them for success and how you help them as well as the faculty. Is there anything outside of the program that would pertain to campus life? Because I know a good portion of students are commuters at CCSU. Some live on campus. Do you have any comments on that area?
Sure. Yeah, the majority of our students are commuters. We do have a number of students that are living on campus. But what we've noticed is that the students who are most successful on campus are the ones who participate in student clubs and activities. So the ones that get involved in a broader sense than just in the academics will have higher GPAs, they'll graduate on time. So we've noticed this, and there are so many events available on campus. I would highly recommend students who's coming in from high school, their first year on campus, to, especially if they're commuters, instead of focusing on just coming in, going to class and leaving campus
Sure.
to go to work or home, that they take part in some of the events that are offered. There's student clubs I mentioned. We have a number of activities always. There's a calendar for students that they can follow to see which activities are available or which events are going on. And specifically in the School of Business, we offer what we call a SPA session, which is student professional advancement sessions that they can take part in. So these are all ways for them to be connected to the university. And it's been shown everything that we see shows that the students that are more connected are the ones that are more successful.
Yeah, so essentially what you're saying is whether you're a commuter or you live on campus, really that's not a factor. It's just the involvement. Get into the events, use the SPA program, start connecting with people, and basically enjoy the college lifestyle and take advantage of it.
Exactly. You said it much more succinctly than I did.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been extremely helpful. This content is invaluable for students and also parents that are looking at the program and looking at CCSU in general. So thank you again for your time, and I appreciate it. And students can reach out to you on the website. I'm sure they can find your info there.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
All right, great. Thank you.